Yeah, I'm doing okay. I've been a bit sick. I was not feeling well, and then my body was overworked, and I need to time for myself, and then struggling with women, and then struggling with myself. So was up and down roller coaster, but overall, I'm doing okay.
I mean, maybe that's a great place to start then.
Yeah,
How'd you navigate that? What'd you do? How'd you take care of yourself?
Netflix.
Uh-huh.
No, I just spend a lot of time in bed and still educate myself. So on Netflix, I listen to, or I watch some really good, powerful documentaries that I learned a lot from, also for myself in my future life or in my life, and also for other people that I can help with. So I listen to my body, and when I feel I need rest, then I will take it. Usually, it was like, no, more, more, more. I need to keep going. But now it's like, no, now
hmm
I need to rest. My body says rest, and then I just listen to it.
Hmm. Now, that's a very interesting dynamic, Vincent, because a lot of the beliefs are when you're not feeling well or something's not right, then you need to be busy and you need to do the extra things. You need to go accomplish things. You need to go finish things. You need to go start things, whatever it is. Where did you learn this practice of listening to your body and taking rest when you need it?
I've been close to a burnout, like you said. I was just pushing myself, keep going. I'm a person that doesn't like to sit still. So when I'm in bed or on the couch, my mind's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I did that for a long time, but eventually I got into a burnout or close into a burnout. And I said, I cannot keep going like this because I was overworking myself. I was constantly sick, tired, exhausted. So I said, okay, when I feel that I'm overworked or done too much, I need to rest. I say, okay, this is a rest day, or on Sunday, I just take time for myself, no work. And from there, I just see and feel how I move day by day.
hmm Was that challenging for you to go against the pattern that you already had established?
Yeah, really challenging because I feel like if I sit still, I don't do anything. And I like to be productive, I like to be busy. But it can also be a coping mechanism that I just want to avoid. So I keep myself busy so I don't have to see the other things that I need to do as well. Or I put the bar so high and then I just crash because it's too much. So I learn also to take baby steps as well.
Mm. You just mentioned something really important, which is using the busyness, the activity as a form of distraction from being present. Where did you learn this from, and what was it like for you when you started adopting this new outlook?
That's a good question. It's more like the journey and what I've learned from coaches and from influencers. They also share knowledge,
hmm
but I'm not like, okay, what this person is saying, I need to do this. I'm going to take what he says, I'm going to test it and see if it works for me. So I grab knowledge, golden nuggets, I try them and see if it works for me. And from there, I navigate my life that way. Because sometimes people say, oh, this is so amazing and it works so amazing for me. And I do it myself, like, nah, no, this is not really for me. So I
Sure.
choose what's best for me. And it's really by seeing the results as well. Because usually when I was overworked, I'm sitting in bed or I cannot work or do anything. So when I just take time off or I do some other things on the side, I feel like I have more a balanced lifestyle. But I
hmm
also learned that through my work, my healing work, and also working with a psychologist, and I also did EMDR. I learned that it was the trauma was slowly getting out of my body because in the beginning, when I started my journey, I was really angry. I was complaining a lot, asking, why is this all happening to me?
hmm
But later I learned I'm this diamond and there's some cracks, there's some bruises, but what I had to do is just brush it off nicely. So it's still the diamond, but it's not exactly how the diamond was in the beginning.
Hmm.
So that's how I always remind myself, like, hey, even though there's a small crack in the diamond, I can still make it nice again, and I don't have to change myself. So that's how I really learned to still challenge myself, but don't
Hmm.
go over the edge all the time.
Yeah, you're talking some really interesting dynamics of these adaptations. So the being busy and working and an adaptation or a coping mechanism, I think is the phrase that you used.
Yeah.
And then you said you described it perfectly of how it provides some short-term relief, but then it burns you out even more and then you can't do anything. So the thing that you're trying to avoid, which is being inactive or being burnt out, is actually the outcome that the adaptation of being busy causes. Where did all of this start for you? So these patterns are there. You're talking about these patterns or adaptations, which sound like they're originating from some sort of trauma. We adapt to trauma when we go through it. And these adaptations are those responses. So those are the patterns that we get. What led you to start looking at these patterns and starting to, because you're describing a high amount of responsibility and accountability and awareness of these patterns and what you're going through. Where did all this start? What led you into this?
It really started at a young age. I got rejected by my mom when I was younger. I did
Hmm.
something wrong and she rejected me. We're not like she pushed me away, like we don't see each other, but I got so damaged in the moment. She was so angry at me that I created this comfort zone, this space for myself. And through my life, I had a lot of struggles with women. I was really shy. I didn't talk to them. And in the beginning, I wasn't like that. I was making a lot of friends and stuff like that. But because of that, and also I've been really rejected really hard by a school girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, that I went inside. I just went to my shell, and I didn't like how my life was going, and I built a coping mechanism with video games. I started to play video games a lot, like so many games. It was also a coping mechanism. And then I also got addicted to pornography. So it was all these coping mechanisms for me to deal what's happening to me. And in 2014, I got a wake up call from my higher self. That really gave me that message from saying, Vincent, you need to get help. And it was so strange, Julian, because I was just playing with my video game and I just looking into the room and it felt like somebody was whispering in my ear,
Hmm.
but it wasn't. And I put my controller down and that message was so vivid, so strong that I said, okay, I need to get help. So I went to see the doctor. I talked to him about my problems. And what I always discovered was this intense feeling in the body. I always had this feeling that I wanted to run away, always this flee or
Hmm.
to stand still. So I was always nailed to the ground, especially with women. It was fleeing
Hmm.
or nailed to the ground. And from there, I started to, he sent me to therapy. And the first time I went there, it was so hard because I was stepping inside her office and we talked and she asked me then, Vincent, can you tell something about your life? And I just broke down. I started to cry and I said, I have no life. I have nothing. I'm just playing video games. I'm just all the time at home because I'm afraid to go outside to connect with
How old
people.
are you here?
Uh, it was 10 years ago. So now I'm 39.
Okay. 28, 29 years old.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And from there, I started to really change everything. After we had our conversation, she sent me to group therapy. And from there, I saw the backpack that I was carrying. There's all these
Mm.
traumas, all these coping mechanisms, all these problems that I had to deal with. And from there, I started to go through the journey. And then I got another addiction, and it was self development. I got addicted to reading books, going to
Mm-hmm.
courses. But I realized later on through my journey that I was building a huge wall of knowledge. So I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to have every single book that I need to read about fear, building a business. I want to read everything before I start. So, for example, before I'm going to start this business, first I'm going to read all these books before I'm going to start. So I was always building this huge wall to protect myself. Also with rejection, first I'm going to read this book about fear and then I'm going to talk with women.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always this excuse for me to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, I need to change this because this is not working. And then in 2017, I went to Mexico to start a fast food restaurant. I packed everything and I moved there for 1 year. And then 1 year later, I got bankrupt and I lost everything. And it was so hard. It was devastating. And I couldn't believe it because I was laughing everything off like, no, everything is fine. And my bank account was just empty. So I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an ex-girlfriend there and it was also really toxic, not working. And I had to come back to the Netherlands. And I said, this is not going well. Why is this always happening to me? I don't get it. I do all this work, I reading these books, and still I fail in a way. And I realized I'm not taking any action. I'm not getting any experiences with conflicts or how to build something or business. And I always believed that if I have all this knowledge, I'm Superman. I know it all. I can do it all, but I'm not. I just was so unexperienced and I had so much trust in people that I lost everything. So I went back to the Netherlands and from there I said, okay, something needs to change because I'm always on my face and I don't know why. I was always angry at people and being jealous and I said, where's this coming from? And then I saw that I need to put the mirror in front of me. Then I really saw, okay, this is all my fault. I creating this myself, that everything that happened to me, in a way, I could have said no to this guy. I was working with a Mexican to build a fast food restaurant. He did things and I didn't say anything. I let him move on. I let him do all the things with my money. I didn't say any no. I didn't do anything because I was so focused on making it work. I wanted it so bad to live and work there, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
see anything that was going on. And from there, I also learned that I wanted to do something else. I didn't want to start the 9 to 5 for another 10, 20, 30 years. And from there, I go in on the internet, like, how can I make money online? And from there, I go into e-commerce, network marketing, coaching. And I was really in this battle with myself because I like the network marketing, I like the coaching, the podcasting that came on my way as well. But I couldn't make a decision. And then a former coach, she told me, like, why don't you do both? Like everything together. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. And from there, I knew right away that I wanted to be a podcast and helping men. So with the How to Heart show, I want to help men to go back into the hearts because I've seen with myself that I was always in the head, always talking myself over. No, yes, can I do this? Always these conversations with myself. And I wasn't in my authentic self. I was not living
Mm-hmm.
from the heart. If my heart said, you need to do this, I wasn't listening to it. If my gut feeling said, don't do it, I wasn't listening to it. So I learned that I had to listen to it more. And from there, I started to trust myself, learning new skills, do the things that I'm scared of, and just following the life and myself and just being this balance. So that's how I really move myself from trauma to more into my empowering self. But it took years and years of hard work and reading books but in the end I always say everything happens for a reason because all the things that happened to me made me who I am today. And plus I now know how it is. So I can help other people as well because I've been there. I know what it's like to feel and go through this tough journey, and I did most of it alone. I was this lone wolf. I didn't need any help. I can do this all by myself. But
Hmm.
2 years later, I realized I need help. I need help. I need to ask for help. But I had such a huge ego that I said, I don't need help. I can do it by myself,
What do you mean you had such a huge ego?
because I believed I can do it all by myself. No one
Yeah,
can help me,
you had a belief that you had to be strong, independent, and do everything on your own. Hmm.
because I didn't let anybody in. I was
Hmm.
really afraid of letting people help me. So I wanted to do it by myself. But there were
Yeah.
moments in my life that I said, I cannot do this alone. I really
Hmm.
need help. And asking help from a psychologist was really hard, because when you ask for help for somebody like that, it's like, oh yeah, he's probably crazy, or why does he need like help from a professional? But I don't really care, because it's for myself. I want to move
Hmm.
on in my life. And if people say, well, why don't you need, or why cannot you, why can't you not do it by yourself, or stuff like that, I feel like it's for myself. It's for me to grow, for me to change my life.
Hmm.
So what I want to say here is, don't be afraid to ask for help, because I didn't do it for 2 years, and it cost me 2 years because I was struggling by myself. If I asked for help sooner, I would be going faster on my journey as well. And it was also a pride. I was too proud to ask for help. So I just needed to put it on the side and say, okay, the ego, the pride, everything on the side now. I just need to ask for help and do it. And that changed everything for me.
Hmm. Yeah. When we started this, you talked about that incident of being rejected from your mother. And you said that was very impactful. And it seems like in almost every one of these dynamics that you're experiencing later in life, the pain from that early rejection continued to show up.
Yeah. Especially with women, the fear of rejection was so big. Asking women out, I couldn't. I was shaking. I was like,
The fear
blah,
of
blah, 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 blah.
rejection.
Yeah.
It showed up with women. It showed up with your business partner
With
in
everything.
terms
Yeah.
of with boundaries. It showed up in terms of asking for help from the therapist. There was a fear of rejection.
Yes.
Uh,
It was all connected to
hmm.
the first trauma, because when I was working with him, I pushed it all away, because later on, when we started to moving forward and do the EMDR and stuff like that, it came up. It's like, oh yeah, this is something that we need to work on. But I put it all away. And
Hmm.
plus, there was,
Of
when I put it
course.
all away, it's like you put more traumas on top and more
Yeah.
fear and more rejection. So it's buried.
Yeah.
But
Well,
once
that's the way
we,
we adapt to these things, right?
yeah,
How old were you when that rejection, the initial one, happened, do you think?
I think I was around 12, 11,
Around 12
12.
years old? Okay. And who'd you talk to about it when that happened?
No one,
Oh.
because it happened, and she told me, never do that again. And
Hmm.
I was just like, okay. And I just buried it. I never talked
Hmm.
about it until I worked with my psychologist. So that's almost 20, 25 years later.
Right. Yeah, you buried it. So that was the next question, is all those emotions that you had when this event happened, you didn't talk to anybody. So what'd you do with those emotions? Is you said you just buried them.
I wasn't even aware until I got
Hmm.
older. So
Yeah.
I buried it, and I
Yeah.
just lived my life. I just continued.
Hmm.
But when I was in my 20s, I noticed that I struggled a lot with women, also talking, and I also sometimes I'm stuttering. So there was all these things that I didn't like, because I had this image that I need to be perfect. If I'm
Yeah.
perfect, then I know women will stay with me, because if I
Hmm.
say something wrong, or I do something wrong, my fear is that women will leave me. So I did
Hmm.
everything to keep women close to me, or
Yeah,
that
and
I dated,
maintain the
or
connections.
so she wouldn't leave. So it's not, it wasn't really about the connection. It was about her not leaving me.
Yeah, being abandoned. Yeah,
So I had this
maintaining the
huge
attachment.
pleaser. Sorry?
Maintaining the attachment. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was really in this pleasing. I was such a nice guy, constantly in this nice guy pattern, like, oh, is everything okay? Oh, yeah, okay, okay.
Mhm.
And do you need something else? I was constantly chasing her and just fighting for her approval. And I was like, whoa, what's happening here? Why am I doing this? And I
Mhm.
was so, it was really burning me up because I was
Yeah.
just working so hard to get people's approval and make people like me, and I couldn't take it anymore. I said, I need to
Yeah.
change this. This is too
Well,
much.
that's the original pattern right there. Right? Whose approval are you really looking for there?
Yeah, I think in the end it was really my mom that
Mhm.
was her approval or her for me to get close to her. And
Yeah.
now we're close, but not like the mom son relationship, not
Yeah.
like that. If I want to hug her, she's like, oof. And it's also her
Yeah.
traumas. So I cannot really
Mhm.
blame her. I just accepted it and say it is what it is. I don't want her
Yeah.
to change because I can't. But
Mhm.
it was hard because when I was younger and I see children playing with their mother, it's like, yeah, this is something that I've missed. I never really
Yeah.
experienced this, but I learned to accept it, like I said, and yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it was painful. It was very painful.
Yeah,
And it caused you to adapt to that pain. And there were only a few options that were available to you at that time. And like you said, you didn't choose it. It wasn't conscious. It was just an automatic adaptation, which was to sacrifice everything that you were because who you were wasn't good enough to maintain the relationship. So your emotions, bury them, stuff them down. Your boundaries, bury them, stuff them down, and get rid of everything that you are and become everything that you think your mother would want
yeah,
so you can maintain the relationship. So there's these two variables that you're choosing from, which is the attachment, the connection with your mother, and your authenticity, your expression, your emotions, who you are. And ideally, these two would be in connection with each other. They would strengthen each other, the relationship and your authenticity. Who you are would strengthen your relationship with your parents. But unfortunately, they were in conflict. So as a kid, you had to choose. And of course, the attachment always wins because as children, we can't survive without it.
no,
Yeah. And that choice, that dynamic right there, that adaptation of suppressing and burying who you are and then trying to be who you think other people would value, that was the adaptation right there. And that's the pattern that continued to show up over and over and over again in relationships, business relationships, and most importantly, it seems like with yourself.
yeah, you're correct. Because self love, I didn't have that. Because when
Hmm.
people told me you need to love yourself, and I just looked at them like, how? How do I
What
love
does that
myself?
even
I don't
mean?
know. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was
Of
really
course.
hard for me to do that, but the way that I learned is through, like you already mentioned, by boundaries. I couldn't set any boundaries. So
Hmm.
saying no to things that I didn't like, or if people treat me bad, I had to say no. That was the first thing. That was really hard, but I had to learn that. Taking better care of myself. So eating
Right.
better, no junk food, stuff like that. Going to the gym,
Hmm.
taking care of that. The mental health. So reading books, educating myself, get out of my
Yeah.
comfort zone. Those things really helped me also when I started the podcast and go into the business aspect of the podcast. I grow. I grew the confidence. Like my abilities grew. It skyrocketed when people say, "Well, I really like your episode," or "Your episode really helped me."
Hmm.
And that was for me like, wow. So I'm doing really something good. So it really helped me to boost myself. And it's not like I needed them to say it, but it really helped me to say, you see, I'm good enough. I'm good enough as who I am. I don't really have to
Hmm.
change, but just
Yeah.
being my authentic self. I really learned that
Hmm.
that's the best way to live. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, I was always trying to please. I was changing myself from other people. And then I said, I'm done. I'm not going to do that anymore. If they like me, they
Mhm.
like me. If they don't like me, they don't like me. It's fine. I don't like
Yeah.
everybody. So I had to let go. And by letting
Mhm.
go, that changed my entire life. Learning
Yeah.
to let go from what other people think, how I look at myself, how
Mhm.
certain events are in my life or in the world. I had to let go. It's not like I don't care, but I had to let go of the outcome,
Mhm.
all that stuff. And
Y
that
y
was true change.
you're letting go of those patterns, those adaptations to that initial trauma that we were talking about, right? Because when your mother rejects you, what's the message you get as a child?
I'm not good enough.
"I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy." Now, when that happens, there's only a couple ways to respond to it as a child. Well, you could say, "Well, I'm screwed. I'm not good enough. My parents, they're just not up to the job of loving me." Or, "I'm just broken." And those two ways right there, my parents aren't up to the job, they're just not capable, or I'm broken. The I'm broken is actually a survival adaptation because it gives you some room to navigate. Because if your parents just aren't up to the job, they're just not capable, they got their own traumas, they're too wrapped up in their own lives, they're not available or willing to care for you in the way that you need, well, you're just screwed. But if you're not good enough, well, you can become good enough. You can do things, you can become a pleaser, you can accomplish things, you can do what you think they need you to do to be good enough. And that pattern right there, the I'm not good enough, and then the attempt to be good enough is one of the most common beliefs in terms of adapting to trauma. And here we see it pretty clearly. And that's what you're talking about letting go of.
Yeah, not just that, Julian, is also unconsciously. So the unconscious
Hmm.
mind was also in the driver's seat. So every
Of
time
course.
I wanted to do something, for example, I wanted to talk with women, I
Hmm.
froze, constantly
Right.
freezing or fleeing. And I was like, why is this happening? I
Hmm.
just want to have a conversation with her. In my head, I knew nothing was bad gonna happen. I knew she was not gonna attack me. She was not gonna
A part
smack
of you
me.
knew that. Yeah.
A
A
part of me,
part of you
but
knew that. Yeah.
unconsciously, my body was like, no, no, no,
Hmm.
Vincent, you're not gonna do this because if you're gonna do this, you're gonna get hurt.
Who's
And I
that
was,
part right there speaking? The part that's freezing and saying, no, 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 no. If you do this, you're going to get hurt. Where's that come from?
I wasn't saying that, but it was the body.
Right. It's inside of you. So there's a part of you that's saying nothing bad's going to happen. But then there's another part, an unconscious part that's speaking up here saying, no, something terrible is going to happen.
Hmm.
Who's that speaking up? The unconscious part.
I don't know
Where'd you
because
learn that? Where did you learn that if you speak up, you get hurt?
I learned it through when I did. When I spoke up, I got shut down.
Uh-huh. So
So
it's the child version of you that's still carrying around the pain.
I guess so, yeah.
And he was stepping up every time there was about to be pain and trying to protect you by saying, freeze, shut down, don't do this. Because that's the way you adapted when the pain was just starting when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, of course, that pain lives in the body. This part of you still lives in the body. And it's like, yeah, driving the car, got two hands on the wheel.
Yeah. The trauma was in the driver's seat, literally every
Yeah.
single day.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess a good question might be, and maybe a silly question, but really powerful too, is when that child version of you was getting hurt, was being rejected, and was in all that pain, what were the things that you really needed?
Just a hug, I guess. Just that I was wanted, that I was welcome, that she just hold me when I needed it. I feel like that's what I have to learn also with my inner child. Like, even though
Hmm.
my parents couldn't give it to me, now it's my responsibility to do it. I need now
Yeah.
to take care of my inner child. I need to say, okay, Vincent, little Vincent, okay, I know you've been hurt, but it's okay. I'm here now. I'm here now for you.
Hmm.
When my parents couldn't, now I can take care of myself and embrace it. And it's
Yeah.
something that I learned as well through my journey, and also do the things that I enjoyed when I was a kid. I don't
Hmm.
neglect them. I still do them from
Yeah.
time to time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely where we were going with this. So that feeling in the body that you were mentioning, the fear, the freezing, the shutting down, that's that inner child right there, at least one of them that is still carrying around the pain. And the reason why all of those relationships that you were having carried so much weight, there was so much riding on them and so much pain involved with any sort of rejection, was because it was still missing. Yeah. And doing exactly what you just said, that's very powerful because, well, like you said, when you were going to the therapist, you were afraid that they're going to judge you and evaluate you and criticize you and say, oh, what's wrong with this guy? Yeah, somebody's judging and criticizing and evaluating. Somebody has a belief that you're unworthy or not good enough, but it wasn't the therapist. So,
No, that was
yeah,
myself.
yeah. So, really learning to identify that, and those beliefs came from that child. That's where you learned it. So, really learning to identify that part of you right there, which you're already doing really well too. And then offering that, we called it a hug, but really it's comfort, it's connection, it's being valued, it's being seen for who you are and what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. Somebody to be there and really see it. And then to say, oh, you're still valued. There's nothing you can do that's going to ruin this connection. That's what you're really looking for, it sounds like.
Yeah, you're spot on. I was always also when I watched porn, I was always the connection
Hmm.
that I missed. I was always
Yeah.
looking at it because I wanted to have the connection with women,
Yeah.
but I was always outside of myself instead of
Hmm.
inward. First, I needed to connect with myself before I can connect with women. But the reason that I went to porn was I was disconnected with my mom because she couldn't give me what I needed as a child. So I
Right.
was going outside of myself to look for love and validation to pornography, but pornography is not real. But that was my
Yeah.
coping, my way of coping.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really interesting what we do as human beings for us to feel connected or loved or just to be seen. We do the
Yeah.
weirdest things to feel wanted, or also when people stay in a toxic relationship, they
Hmm.
still choose to be with somebody that's abusive because they feel that they are being seen, they are being heard, but still it's toxic.
Yeah. To an extent. I mean, that's the toxicity, is they're actually not being seen or heard or being valued. And this is a very common playing out of this same pattern that we've been talking about, which is we look for the love and the connection that we didn't get from our parents. And we look for it from people who can't give it to us, just like our parents couldn't. And that's the unconscious part of us who's driving the car, constantly looking for the love and the care that we didn't get.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And, unfortunately, at that point, the only real place that this comes from is from within, as you were saying. It's really learning to meet those needs yourself, because it's not fair to yourself or to the other person to put all of those needs that you had from childhood onto your partner. We would try to make them into our parents at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny when you hear stories. I didn't have much relationship, but what always funny is that women, when women look for a partner, they look for somebody that's almost identical to their father. So they have the same
Hmm.
remarks or the same laugh or stuff like that, or the looks.
Sure.
And for boys, for guys, for us, it's the same. We look for somebody that resembles the mom. It's really
Yeah.
funny, really interesting.
Yeah. I remember when I was 22, maybe 23 years old. I was in a very toxic relationship, and I was trying to connect with my mom, very stressed, challenged relationship. And she asked me to drive her about 3 hours away to go pick up my brother. He was getting out of jail that day. And we're in the car, and I'm telling her a little bit about the relationship that I'm in. And she says to me, she goes, "Oh, your girlfriend's just looking for a Dan, and Dan's my mom's husband."
Hmm.
And I realized when she said that, oh my goodness, you two are identical. You're exactly the same. You're the exact same person. And she's looking for somebody to be my mom's husband. And that means that I'm becoming my mom's husband. Not like literally, but the person that she was with. Yeah. And that moment right there, I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I made some tremendous changes immediately when that realization had, but it was unconscious. Had no awareness of this pattern that continuously played out. And I see that with a lot of people too, is we just don't even see or understand the patterns that we're in. And this, for what I see, you tell me if you've experienced this too, is for the most part, it's like a part of the initial adaptation. The trauma is that it wasn't safe to be here. So being present wasn't safe. Having emotions wasn't safe. Expressing emotions wasn't safe. So we had to disconnect from them because it was painful to have them. And having them might have put us in more jeopardy. You would have gotten rejected. I would have gotten threatened in lots of ways. So we disconnect from the present, and that's why we can't even see what we're playing out or what we're feeling or what we're doing.
Yeah, you're right. And a key point, what you mentioned here is awareness. We are not
Hmm.
aware. I wasn't aware of what's happening to me, what's causing it, because I was just in autopilot.
Yeah.
And once I got aware of my behavior, of the traumas, I can start to do something about it. But what you see with most people, some are really aware, or people are getting small awares, and it's like, yeah, but I'm fine. My life is amazing. I have these amazing selfies. I show the world how amazing my life is, but deep down, they're miserable. They don't feel good. They don't like their life, but still they pretend, or they have this mask on,
Hmm.
and they think, this is it. This is how my life needs to be, or this is how my
Yeah.
life is. And that's what I did for years. Like you said, I was carrying this mask,
Yeah.
pretend that I was okay, pretend that I was doing well. When people told me, Vincent, how are
Yeah.
you? Yeah, 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 I'm okay, I'm okay. And I walked
Hmm.
away and I started to cry. I, I,
Yeah.
I, I pretend to be okay. And I was so
Yeah.
afraid to show my emotion, to show like, hey, I'm not doing okay. I was trying
Yeah.
to be like, hey, strong when I wasn't.
Hmm. Yeah. Those are all the beliefs and adaptations that we develop from the initial trauma. Stuff it down. Don't show it. Sacrifice all of your emotions, all of your expression, all your boundaries, and try to be the person that you think the other people want so you can maintain the attachments. That's the fundamental choice that we had to make in childhood is, what do I sacrifice, myself or the attachment? Well, you can't survive without the attachment.
Yep.
And so all throughout life, this pattern keeps presenting itself to us of which one are we going to choose, the authenticity, ourselves, or the attachment? Again, ideally, they would work together, the attachment and the authenticity. Your authenticity would strengthen your attachments, but a lot of people right now are wrapped up in that dichotomy of sacrifice yourself and also evaluating other people in terms of being good enough to be connected or attached to them. And that's what we see so much of what social media does.
Yeah, the reason or the thing that I always put it up is like, okay, so now, for example, if I pretend or I be this person all my life for my parents, for example, and I tried too hard, so hard to please them. I did everything that they said. I did everything that they did. But
Mm-hmm.
eventually they're gonna pass. So
Mm-hmm.
is it really worth it for me to work my ass off to
Yeah.
do everything that they ask when they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go and pass on one day?
Yeah.
So I decided I'm gonna live how I want to live. My parents said,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, you need to do this, and you need to get a girlfriend, and need to all this stuff that we've been here heard by society, governments, and all that shit." So I said, "No, I'm gonna do what's important for me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna choose and what's important for me because I
Yeah.
knew if I'm gonna please every people that I meet, they're gonna walk away eventually, or they're gonna
Yeah.
pretend that they care and they don't. So I said, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
stop. I'm gonna live for myself now.
Yeah.
Because an old friend said, when you're born alone. And when you die alone. Yeah, if you die, you're with friends and family, but you're gonna go alone. So that's
Yeah.
how I see my life. I'm gonna do the best that I can as much with myself, still making connections, do the things that I'm passionate about, all that stuff. But in the end, I'm gonna leave this world alone.
Yeah.
And that was so striking for me. It's like, yeah, I need to do this for myself. I sound maybe arrogant, but this is my life. And I need to make the best of it. I want to leave a legacy behind that I can say, wow, I did this. I did this with friends. I did this with family. I did this with other people. But most of all, I did it by myself. I took the courage to take action. I took the courage to go to seek help because even though I get that voice and told me, Vincent, you need to change, I could also choose not to do anything. I could choose to
Mm-hmm.
keep continue playing video games.
Yeah.
But I knew if I gonna keep doing that, I know where I would be ending. Still playing video games, still being angry, upset, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
In the exact same spot.
Exact same spot, exactly. And that was so profound. Those moments that people said, you need to do this or you need to do that. And I said, I want to be my own leader. I want to do the things
Mm-hmm.
that I'm make me joy, that makes me happy. And I can do it
Yeah.
together with people or I can do it alone. And it was so hard for me to realize that and do something about it. But when you do it, it just gives you freedom because you take charge of your life. And like you said, when I was child, I couldn't. I needed my parents to support me, but now I can
Mm-hmm.
support myself. And
That's
it
right.
takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of responsibility, but no one is going to do it for you. You need to do it for yourself.
Yeah. And you're hammering the fundamental pillars or foundation of what therapy is all about, which is building awareness of what's going on inside of you. What are your default patterns, your core beliefs? What do you do with emotions? And then rather than fighting those patterns or blaming others for them, how can we take responsibility for them, accountability for them? And how can we take action to liberate ourselves from those old patterns? See, if we don't do those things, then we stay in victim mentality, always waiting for somebody to
Yeah.
rescue us. And we're
Yep.
always trying to do the next thing to be good enough. But as you pointed out, yeah, I mean, your parents are going to pass, all the people are going to pass. And even if you do all the things exactly as they want you to do, chances are it's still not going to be good enough.
No.
It's never good enough. The target's always moving. And so, yeah, we really start to find the peace when we start to be good enough for ourselves.
Yeah, you need to do it for yourself. What I usually say is you live for yourself. You don't live for other
Hmm.
people because other people also live for themselves. It's all about the me mentality. That's what you see nowadays. It's really sad that we're stop connecting. We're so distracted on the phone. And yeah, it's good to take care of yourself, but you also we need to work together more. We need to stay connected more because, like I said, I wanted to do everything by myself, and my journey was really slow. But once I learned, I asked for help and let people really help me, I grew like really fast. And that
Yeah.
was my downfall because I wanted to do everything by myself. It's also, like you said, Julian, trauma, just me wanting to do it by myself and really not trusting myself, no skills. But by letting people help me, I said, okay, now I see myself grow faster. And it was more exciting because if I didn't have any, or I was stuck, I could call my psychologist or can call a friend like, hey, can you help me? Because this and this and this. Yeah, yeah, I will help you. And then it just moves faster. So, eh, and also we're human beings. So we are social beings. So we need to talk, we need to connect, we need to chat. So what I say to the listeners is, I know asking for help is hard, but it's necessary for you to grow. And sometimes you need to let go of people that you love. I don't say you just do it right now, but you'll know when people want to put you down, talking trash behind your back, then you know it's time for them to go. Because I had a friend and she said, you're on a bus and people will come on your bus and they will leave the bus. And she said, one day when your bus is full, you need to leave the bus as well. And I was just mind blowing for me because what she told me was, I can choose. I can choose who I hang out with. I can choose who I let into my life. And that's the power that we hold by taking responsibility and charge of what's important for us. And once you do that, taking responsibility and letting the people go that doesn't have any good things for you or only abuse you or use you, it's hard, but it will transform your life because you're not stuck anymore. You don't have this negative energy that you're carrying or this toxicity from other people. And then
Mm.
your life becomes freedom and it becomes magic because also you vibrate more. So your energy is
Yeah.
growing and then you manifest and attract more things into your life. And it's
Yeah.
not rocket science. It's really easy if you understand it, but taking action, that is the most hardest part. But
Hmm.
trust me when I say this from my journey, I've been shy, I've been addicted, I've been really afraid of everything. Still, eventually I did it. I went to Mexico. I did the Wim Hof training. I went in my shorts on a mountain with -2 degrees in the cold. I can do it because I learned to challenge myself. And when I challenge myself, I know things, I learn things, and that's how I grow. But if, like Julian said, if you're just gonna stand still and just don't do anything and don't take any risks, your life gets dull, it gets bored, and you don't know when you're in the end of your life, you don't know what could have happened. And I say now, I'd rather be rejected than not knowing what could have happened because not knowing hurts more than the rejection because the rejection you will know, but not knowing hurts me more. So that's what
Yeah.
came up to me, and that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah. And I'm curious, Vincent, when you went and saw your therapist and they said, can you tell me something about your life? And you said, well, I have nothing.
Hmm.
I have no life. That's very, very different from what you just described of going to Mexico, doing the Wim Hof training, going on the mountain, doing all of these things. I'm curious, how does being active on this path of taking accountability, responsibility for your own life, living your own life in terms of what you want to do, I'm curious, how does that affect your relationship to yourself?
Before that, if I go steps back, is before that I was drowning in fear. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe in myself. I had a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. So my trust in myself wasn't there. But once I started to talk with this lady and she said, don't worry, I will help you. From there, I said, oh, okay, so there is help. There is a way to change. Because when I was younger, I believed that this is it. Being afraid all the time, not standing up for myself, not take any risk, not do the things that I wanted to do. I believed in a narrative from other people and the things that I created for myself, the limiting beliefs, because I knew if I'm going to keep myself small, then I wouldn't take any risk. People
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't judge me. I wouldn't
You'd be
have
safe.
conflicts. I would be safe, exactly. So I was always looking for the safety in my own life or in my own world to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I went, I was looking for an exit because I wanted to feel safe.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel safe with myself. But after the therapy with this lady and I went into group therapy, I saw the possibilities. I saw openings. I saw a door open instead of one door being closed. I saw more
Mm-hmm.
doors opening and I created those doors for myself. But I saw there is a way that I never saw. It was epiphany for me. It was a moment that I realized I can change. And it wasn't easy because it took me almost 5 to 10 years because I was
Mm-hmm.
only educating myself, reading books and stuff like that, and I didn't take any action. But later on, I realized I need to take action because I can read thousands of books about businesses and not taking action, then there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
But I wanted to always go to from 0 to 100. But
Mm-hmm.
I learned I have to do small steps because if I
Yeah.
put it so high, the boundaries, then I would crash and I wouldn't do it because
Yeah.
it
It's
was too
unrealistic.
overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. This moment, Vincent, that you're talking about here, where you realized you had this epiphany, where you realized something very important here in terms of change in your life. See, before, when you were playing out those patterns of making yourself small, trying to find the safety that you didn't have at an early age, you're in, that's the victim right there, right? You're the victim. You're not safe. You're always trying to be safe. Something's always out to get you, or somebody's always trying to hurt you. There's always the fear of the rejection of being hurt, right? And that means that somebody's going to be there to hurt you. That's the victim. But then this epiphany happens and you realize that it's different. It sounds like to me, tell me if this is accurate, this is the moment where you realized that you're very powerful.
To realize it wasn't happening after that. It was more first I got more aware. That was the first
Uh-huh.
step, the
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
But me taking those action steps, for example, with the Wim Hof,
Mm-hmm.
it was really challenging because most
Mm-hmm.
people say, I'm not going to do it. It's too cold. But I knew in my heart that I needed to do it. I cannot really explain it, but I felt that I had to do it. Even though I was afraid, I was called to do it. First, I did in Amsterdam, I did a small session to go into the ice bath. It's not like I'm going to go in the Wim Hof like for the first time. I did some ice baths before, so I knew. But I was so called to do it. And once I was on top of this mountain, I felt really powerful. I felt really empowering because I went back to my old self and I saw how scared Vincent was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But after being on
Yeah.
top of this mountain, it showed me I'm capable of so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for me the realization like, hey, what's more that I can do? What is more that I can achieve? But I had, how can I say? I convinced myself that I can do it. And that's
Yeah.
by doing it.
Yeah. You became very powerful. That unconscious child adaptation that was driving the car that had two hands in the wheel, that he was very powerful up until this point. And his way of of living was through that adaptation of always looking for the exit being small. But now there's an older, wiser, more powerful version that is negotiating with this child here and saying, well, it might be really scary, but let's try it out and let's just see how it goes. And the more and more you leaned into this, we call it your higher self, yeah, the more and more powerful you've become. And this is really the goal of the therapy right here, is to build the awareness, to see the patterns, to see the dynamics, to take the responsibility, the accountability for your life and for your emotions and your feelings and your beliefs, to make changes, to start to do new things, to liberate yourself from those old patterns. And when you do all of those, yeah, the result is you become empowered. You become empowered to be who you really are. Congratulations on finding that, because that is not an easy feat.
No. No, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a chaotic journey because, like you said, I was always in this victim mentality. Like, I'm not good enough. I cannot do this. I always get hurt. I always get rejected. But last year, I realized I was really negative, and I realized through audiobooks, I need to become more positive because I was always in this negative mindset, always toxic to myself. And I got so sick, really physically sick. I was
Mm-hmm.
not doing well. I was always tired. I was not in the mood to do anything. And I was causing it myself. And a part of me was also to be victimized myself. Like, hey, now I don't have to take any responsibility for my life because now I'm
Yeah.
the victim. I have no power. I'm giving it away to other people and they need to fix me. They need to help me. But once I started to change my lingo, and the lingo means how I talk to myself, everything started to change. Everything started to become more different. Even
Yeah.
though if she rejects me, I say, okay. First, I was like, oh, why is she rejecting me? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? But if she rejects me now, I say, okay, then we're not meant to be. Then it's not the right time for us to be
Mm-hmm.
together. And it
Yeah.
gives such a different vibe and different feeling that I can walk away easier than just, wow, why is this happening? And you feel it right away. Your energy, your vibration is getting lower, it's getting darker, and then it's hard to get out of it. And life becomes
Mm-hmm.
hard. Always the Mondays becomes hard. You don't want to get out of bed. So I said, I need to change that. And Julian, to be honest, that was the most difficult thing that I've done since the start of the journey with self-development. Seeking therapy is changing how I talk to myself,
Your
changing how I
relationship to
talk to people.
yourself.
Exactly. And that was so hard
Mm-hmm.
because of the neuron pathways that I created
Yeah.
with my brain. And I had
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
unlearn those toxic behaviors, those habits, and also the porn addiction. I've been addicted for 20 years. Now this year I quit. So it took so hard for me to let go of porn because it was safe. It gave me safety. But now I had to
Yeah.
learn to feel safe with myself
Mm-hmm.
and talk more positive, more empowering, stand up straight, not like looking to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. I had to learn that. But it's not like when I stand like Superman, I feel like that every day. I need to do every day stand like Superman or talk positive to myself because then you create these pathways and then it will stay. But that was so hard, so hard.
Well, you're talking about rewiring your nervous system here.
Also that.
That's what you're talking about, right? You had this default pattern, these default networks of being very critical of yourself. You had to, because being critical of yourself is how you maintain the relationships. You have to be under constant evaluation to be exactly what you think your mother wants to maintain the relationship. And that's the origin of this harshness, the criticism, the evaluation, the punishment. If you don't do this good enough, then you get punished. And so you got to punish yourself before your mother will punish you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how tiring, how painful. And how deeply entrenched is that pattern? Because I mean, when you're a kid, your body's developing. Your worldview, your perception of yourself and the world around you, that's developing. Your nervous system's developing. Your hormonal systems are developing. Your emotional circuits are developing. And they're developing in relationship to this environment. So this pattern gets so deeply entrenched. It's like a river that's been flowing since, the beginning of time. And now you're talking about carving out a new pattern, a new river. And yeah, that is very, very challenging. But this is exactly what the vast majority of people are looking for when they talk about rewiring their nervous system or rewiring their brain. You just described exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, and also you point out something really powerful, Julian, and that is fighting, because that's what I was always doing with myself, fighting
Mm-hmm.
myself. And what I was always doing, I was swimming against the current, always
Of
just
course.
swimming, swimming. I want to make it, I want to make it. But then I realized, what if I just let go? And the current takes me with it. And I didn't have to fight. I just
Yeah.
float. And then I realized, peace. Finally, I found some peace within myself. And I know the monkey mind can be busy, but it's practice. You can do
It's
meditation. You
practice.
can sit into nature. You can go into barefoot with Mother Nature. Massages. There's so many ways to help yourself, but it takes dedication. It takes time and
Commitment.
commitment. But the result is gonna be so powerful, and then you're gonna finally say, "Now I feel good," because my entire life, I never felt really good. I was always tired. I was always exhausted. I was always fighting battles that was not even real. And once I let go and went with the current, that was the first time I felt peace within myself. And I said to myself, this is what I want to feel if I can most of the time, because you feel better, you can do more. And like we discussed, the burnout doesn't go there because I set boundaries also for myself, not just for other people. And life becomes easier, because what I realize is most people make themselves or their lives really hard, but it's because what they do, how they connect, what
Treat
friends do they
themselves.
have, how they treat themselves, what they spend their
Mhm.
time on. Because life is not hard or difficult if you just become aware and take the right steps for what's important for you. Because if you're doing something that you don't like, for example, with work, then your life is going to be hard because you're doing
Yeah.
something that's not fit for you or you don't like to do. But if you're going to change your job that's more appealing, that gives you joy, that gives you energy, then your life is not hard anymore. Same with relationships. If you're in a toxic relationship, life is hard because you're fighting this person or you're in this drama all the time. But if you leave this toxic relationship, and you probably know, Julian, how you felt after that, you feel so much better. It's hard. I cried a lot when I need to break up with my ex, but I took my power back
Yeah.
and said, I will meet other women that is probably more healthy, works on herself. And plus, I had to work a lot on myself to be where today. When I got bankrupt, life pushed me on my knees. And I said to myself, I haven't learned what I need to learn. I
Hmm.
need to continue learning and growing. I was so full of myself that I believed that I knew it all, but I wasn't. So in the beginning it was hard, but I see it as a positive, because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be this podcast. I wouldn't be helping other people. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, helping, growing, all that stuff. So sometimes we say, why is this happening to me? But I say, I'm glad this happened to me it because of it, I'm the person who I am today, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
Yeah. The outcome it's completely different here because you've flipped the priority, the adaptation, those patterns that we were talking about earlier of constantly looking for safety. It provided short-term relief, but long-term harm. And here, what you're talking about in terms of like the relationships, yeah, it hurts when you realize, oh, I need to let go of this relationship, or oh, I'm in this job that doesn't work for me. There's pain and there's short-term pain. But when you put in the practice, the effort, the continuous effort to make changes, it leads to long-term peace. And that flipping of the script right there of being willing to endure the short-term pain and to put in the effort to get where you want to go versus taking the short-term comfort and enduring the long-term pain. This is a very important balance because, again, we learn that very early in life to sacrifice ourselves to make the short-term comfort, short-term peace, the short-term relationship, but the pain is long-term. And so really learning to sit with this. One of my teachers calls this the compassion of truth. There's a lot of pain when you start to accept the truth. And accepting that pain is short-term because you become empowered, you can make changes. But denying that truth leads to long-term suffering.
Julian, you're spot on. And also, what's interesting, what I was always fascinated about is the things we do in short term. So we always go to this short term gratification. So we want to enjoy the moment now, but we can also do the things more on the long term if we work for it, if we dedicate ourselves or work for the goals that we want to achieve. For example, if you want to have financial freedom, yeah, you need to work hard. You need to do a lot of sacrifices. You need to do things that
Mm-hmm.
are uncomfortable. That was also a big problem for me. Do the things that I'm uncomfortable, the
Right.
unknown. But we rather just, how can I say, numb ourselves. So it's also
Exactly.
sabotaging ourselves for us
Mm-hmm.
achieving that goal, that dream. You say, oh, it's so hard. I will never reach it. No, if you just Netflix all day and just sitting on the couch, you will never reach it. But
Precisely.
we always go to the short term moment. But I realize if I'm just gonna, yeah, in the moment it's hard. In the moment it's, yeah, when you start a business, it's grows slow. But I know in the end of the journey, it's like planting a seed. When you plant a seed and nurturing it, you will know it's gonna have a tree or a flower or what. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
But we're so focused on numbing ourselves. We're so focused on the short term, what we want now. We want to feel good now, but not in 1 year when you're financial free. And when I realized that, yeah, I still need to enjoy the moment, but I need to avoid that I'm gonna numb myself or distract myself by
Yeah.
short term gratification. And that was so powerful for me to go more into long term. What can I
Yeah.
achieve in long term? What can I achieve in my relationship long term? Not in a moment, but in the long term. And
Yeah.
that's so powerful.
How can I take care of myself now so a version of me can enjoy this later on? When
Exactly.
when we pull the numbing, the anesthetic out, there's pain. It's uncomfortable, yes. Exercising can be uncomfortable, stretching can be uncomfortable, but it leads to becoming stronger and more flexible. When
Yeah.
I'm growing trees, there's a part of me, as soon as I plant the acorn, I want the oak tree, I want the oak forest, I want to climb the tree, I want to walk in it. But there is something so beautiful and special about that very first leaf that grows, the vitality, the delicacy, how fragile this new sprouting is and how much I need to nurture and take care of this thing for it to grow. And while we look for the end result so frequently, we miss out on each one of these beautiful steps along the way. Each one of these aren't to be passed over, these steps, they're to be enjoyed and to be experienced. And if we can take out the anesthetic, the numbing, and actually be here with each one of these steps. We might say, yeah, I want to have financial freedom. But the process of liberating ourselves financially, that's what's really to be experienced. And we miss that completely when we numb ourselves. So there's so much to be enjoyed and to be experienced by pulling the anesthetic out and allowing ourselves to go through the process. It's not about getting to the end destination, it's
No.
about each step along the way.
And enjoy the
Hmm.
process. And that's what I didn't
Yeah.
do because I was only focused on the outcome. And now I'm enjoying the process. Like, oh, I did this, I did that. Also, with working out, it's the same thing. When people start working out, they think in 2 weeks they're gonna have this six pack, or they're gonna be super masculine, or they have those huge muscles. But it's the vision that they have, but the way towards it takes too long. And then we're gonna sabotage ourselves. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
If I saw a small part of success, like, no, 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 too dangerous. No, no, I don't want to be successful, because if I'm successful, people will see that and people will try to pull me down, or say, like, they're gonna give comments or whatever. So I kept myself small so I wouldn't get above the herd. And once I realized what I was doing, I said, no, I need to do this. This is
Hmm.
important for me. I want to grow. And if people don't like me, see me grow, that's their problem. I push it back to them. So those things, what you also said, Julian, how to get my power back, is those things, the mindset.
Hmm.
How do I talk to
Yeah.
myself?
Yeah.
Avoid distraction. When people say, hey, Vincent, you want to go to a party? No, no, I need to work because this is important. And they look at me like, huh? Are you crazy? This is good party. You'll go party whatever you want, but I know long term, when I keep doing the work, I can party wherever I want. I can travel around the
Hmm.
world. I can do the things that I want because I don't think in short term. I think
Yeah.
in long term.
You prioritize yourself.
Exactly.
Well, Vincent, this has been lovely. I'm really happy that we get to show so many of these steps of what it looks like when you go through transformations and how to really identify that internal conflict and where it comes from. And we saw, you told me immediately exactly where this originated from. Incredible. Yeah, each one of these steps, the building awareness of these dynamics, the taking accountability for it, accepting that it's here and taking responsibility. And then, of course, nurturing yourself in the ways that you really need. These are each one of the steps. And just like you said a minute ago, it doesn't come fully developed. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. It develops and matures with time, dedication, and commitment. And each one of those steps is very beautiful and to be enjoyed.
Absolutely. And the last thing that I want to add is time. Be patient. Give yourself
Hmm.
time. If you've been hurt, or you've been, for example, in a relationship and he or she leaves you, it hurts, but also give yourself time. Be kind to yourself. And that's what I had to learn as well, to sit with myself. When I had to break up with my ex-girlfriend, she was the first actual girlfriend long term that I had. And when I had to break up because I knew it was so toxic and not healthy for her and for me, I closed myself off for 5 years because I was so afraid to get hurt again. I didn't let
Hmm.
anyone enter. And I said, first I had to have to heal, because I talk with some people and it's, yeah, but I went on dating and I slept around. It's like, okay, yeah, but that's not what I do. That's not how I heal. Everyone heals in their own way. But I said to myself, first I need to heal myself before I can let people in. And it sounds usually weird because you say, well, I need affection, I need love. But I had to love myself first. And that once I realized I can love myself, then I can love other people back.
Precisely. Where does it come from, internally or externally?
Internal.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're saying right now is the love. Some people
Yeah.
look for it externally
Exactly.
and then you never have it. Your peace is always dependent on external factors or other people. But when you have it internally, well, then the external is just a bonus.
Exactly. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. I just rephrased it.
Yeah, yeah, true. But you're correct. Yeah,
Vincent, this has been fantastic. I'm really happy we got to connect. Is there anything else that
absolutely.
you'd like to add before we leave?
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you so much for having me on the show. I really love our conversation, and I want to invite you to be on my show as well on the How to Heart show if you're interested.
I'll take you up on that. Yeah.
Because
Where?
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, because when I first listened to you did some other interviews, and I was like, wow, his voice is so powerful. It's so calm. And I was so honored for you to have me on the show. So that's why I really want to have you on the show because I love how you talk and also how you bring things into perspective. And I feel like you can give a lot of value if you're also going to be on my show and share your journey as well. So, yeah, again, Julian, it's been powerful. It's been really amazing. And it would be absolute honor to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that. Thank you. And before we go, where can people find you?
They can find me on all social media. My name is Vincent Hazenboom. If you type that on the internet, you can find it there. You can find the How to Heart show on YouTube. I have also my podcast on Captivate and on Spotify. That's also where I started my old episodes as well. And plus, I'm also building a course for men to quit porn because I've been addicted for a long time and it took me years and years for me to quit. And through my healing journey, through my awareness journey, through what I've learned, I want to give men the peace as well and the freedom for not being a slave because that's what I was. I was a slave of my own addiction, of my own fears, of the trauma. And now that I learned to liberate myself, I want to give men the same gift that I feel. And plus, you will live from your authentic self instead of being enslaved by a system or your mind, because we're usually the own prison keepers of our own minds. So I want to give them the key so they can unlock it and really learn, become fully aware. And I say, once people start their healing journey, you never quit. There's a never ending journey. And some people, they stop because they feel it's enough. But I say, there's always something to learn. There's always something that I can grow in. I can always build a new skill set. I can always improve. So that's my gift that I want to leave behind when I'm passing on, is for people to learn to become aware and take the lead of their own life and do the same for other people as well. But when they're on the deathbed, they can say, I did everything that I wanted to do. I have no regrets. And that's what I want to leave behind.
Yeah, that's really incredible. I'm glad that you're sharing those. And a group like that, in terms of porn addiction, can be so powerful. There's usually a great amount of shame involved with these
100%.
types of addictions. And like Brene Brown says, shame thrives in the darkness. But when we can take it out and share it and put it in the light, it loses so much power. So I'm so happy that you have a group like that and that you can help people, because this is a major problem, a major epidemic in our society today. And it's getting some attention, but still could use a lot more. So I'm really happy that you're putting this out there, and such fantastic resources, and what a beautiful way to live your life. So these very common regrets that people have when they're dying, there are also regrets when you're living. So yeah, it's really important to start to take some accountability today, some responsibility, and to find that power to live the life the way that you want to live life. I'm very
Take
happy you're
action.
sharing that. Take action. Yeah, Bruce Lee would say that knowing is not enough, we must apply, and willing is not enough, we must do. So that's exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's not enough to know these things. It's not enough to want to do them. You have to apply it. You have to do it.
Yeah, and the last thing that I want to add, that was yesterday for for an interview that I did. Find your why, because if you found your why, then you have something to live for. Because if you just do the things of, yeah, but
Yeah.
if you have a why do you want to change your life? Why do you want to educate yourself? Why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to start a business? So if you have your why, you can hold on, and there's always, when you wake up, you always have this why. Why do I wake up for this? Why do I get out of bed for this, for the things that I want to do? And that was so powerful, because I can teach you how to do things, but if you don't have a why, you're not going to do it. So
Sure.
look for your why and act upon it. Search your heart. You know deep in your heart that you what you want to do, and follow that, because that's your compass, and it will give you the life that you desire. So do that. Live from the heart. And people say, yeah, but how do I do that? I cannot tell you. You have to learn to listen, and also your gut feeling. It's always right. And I've been scammed. I didn't listen to my gut feeling. I wish I did, but it lured me to see the mistake as a gift, because I learned from it and it gave me a lot of awareness from it. But I also learned the gut feeling. So they're the most two important things that I've learned through my journey. Listen to the heart and the gut feeling, because those are the best compasses in your life. It will take you where you need to go.
That is fantastic advice. Vincent, thank you so much for sharing this. I'll have all your information linked in the show notes, and I'll look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely. It's been amazing. And thank you for having me. And yes, talk soon.